Around 300 BC, a philosopher named Zeno of Citium was shipwrecked off the coast of Greece. He lost everything: his cargo, his wealth, his plans for the future. He swam to shore in Athens with nothing and wandered into a bookshop where he picked up a copy of Xenophon's writings about Socrates. He was so moved that he turned to the bookseller and asked, "Where can I find a man like this?" The bookseller pointed at a philosopher walking past outside. Zeno followed him. And from that encounter grew what we now call Stoicism. 200 years earlier, on the other side of the world, a prince named Siddhartha had also lost everything, not his possessions, but his illusions. He sat under a tree and arrived at a philosophy we now call Buddhism. Two men, two continents, two completely different traditions. And yet, when you place their ideas side by side, the similarities are almost impossible to explain. Almost. In this video, I want to take you through Stoicism and Buddhism side by side. Not as a debate about which is better, but as a conversation between two of the wisest traditions humanity has ever produced. We are going to look at three things: where they agree, and the agreement is remarkable; where they differ, and the difference matters enormously; and the one question that reveals which philosophy might suit you better. If you have watched our earlier videos on Marcus Aurelius and the Buddha, this one brings everything together. If this is your first video, everything you need is here. Let's start with something extraordinary. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, Stoic philosopher, writing in his private journal around 170 AD, put down these words: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And the Buddha, Indian prince turned wandering philosopher, speaking around 500 BC, is recorded in the Dhammapada as saying, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." These two men never met. They were separated by 7 centuries and 5,000 kilometers, and yet both arrived at the same fundamental insight. The source of human suffering is not what happens to us. It is what we do with it inside our own minds. The agreements run deeper than this single idea. Both traditions teach that desire and attachment are the root of most human misery. Both teach that the present moment is the only place wisdom can operate. Both teach that the examined life, the life of conscious awareness, is the only life that leads to genuine peace. Both also teach that this peace is available to anyone, not only to kings or monks or scholars. To the slave Epictetus and the prince Siddhartha alike. The Stoics called it living according to nature, accepting what is, acting virtuously within it, releasing attachment to outcomes. The Buddhists called it the middle way, neither grasping pleasure nor avoiding pain, simply observing experience with clear awareness. Different words, strikingly similar maps. So if they agree on so much, where do they actually differ? And why does the difference matter? The difference between Stoicism and Buddhism is not about what they observe, it is about what they prescribe. The Stoics look at the suffering caused by uncontrolled emotion and say, Use reason. Apply your rational mind to separate what is within your control from what is not. Act decisively on the former. Release the latter completely. Build virtue. Be useful. Engage with the world. The Buddhists look at the same suffering and say, observe. Do not fight the emotion with reason. Simply watch it arise. Notice its impermanence and allow it to pass. The self that is doing the reasoning is itself part of the illusion. Sit with what is, nothing more. This is the key difference, and it is not small. Stoicism trusts the rational mind. It believes reason is our highest faculty, the thing that separates us from animals and connects us to the divine order of the universe. When you are suffering, the Stoic prescription is to think more clearly. Buddhism is suspicious of the rational mind. It believes that much of what we call reasoning is simply the ego constructing stories to protect itself. When you are suffering, the Buddhist prescription is to stop thinking and simply observe. Here is a concrete example of the difference. You receive painful criticism from someone you respect. It hurts. The Stoic approach. Ask yourself, is this criticism within my control to address? If yes, act on it. If no, it belongs to the category of things outside your control and therefore need not disturb you. Apply reason. Make a decision. Move forward. The Buddhist approach. Notice the pain. Notice the thoughts arising around it, the ego defending itself, the stories constructing around the hurt. Do not engage with those stories. Do not reason through them. Simply observe them as you would clouds passing across a sky and watch them dissolve on their own. Same situation. Profoundly different responses. There is a second difference, perhaps even more significant. Stoicism is fundamentally engaged with the world. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor. Epictetus taught students. Seneca was a statesman. The Stoics believed that virtue expressed itself through action, through doing your duty, serving your community, showing up for your life fully and completely. Buddhism, at its core, points toward detachment from the world, not abandonment of it, but a kind of non-clinging relationship with it. The monk on the mountaintop is not the only Buddhist ideal, but he exists within the tradition in a way he simply does not within Stoicism. The Stoic says, be in the world, unattached to its outcomes. The Buddhist says, observe the world, including yourself observing it. Both are pointing somewhere worth going. They are simply taking different roads. Here is the question most people ask at this point, and it is the right question. Which one should I follow? I want to be honest with you. The most useful answer is probably not either or. The philosopher William James, writing at the turn of the 20th century, observed that some people are fundamentally tough-minded and some are tender-minded. The tough-minded prefer clarity, action, and decisiveness. The tender-minded prefer contemplation, acceptance, and inner stillness. Stoicism tends to serve the tough-minded. It gives you a framework, a decision-making tool, a way of organizing your response to difficulty. It is philosophy as engineering. Buddhism tends to serve the tender-minded, or those who have found that engineering the mind only goes so far. It offers something the Stoics do not: permission to stop, to sit, to observe without needing to reach a conclusion. But here is what the wisest practitioners of both traditions would tell you. Marcus Aurelius, in his most honest moments in the Meditations, sounds Buddhist. He writes of letting go, of impermanence, of the smallness of everything, including himself. And the great Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, in his most engaged moments, sounds almost stoic. He founded schools, led social movements, acted in the world with deliberate, purposeful compassion. The traditions are not opposites. They are different expressions of the same recognition that the mind, left untended, will generate suffering, and that with care, whether through reason or observation, through action or stillness, it is possible to live with far more peace than most of us currently do. The question is not which philosophy is correct. The question is which one you will actually practice. Zeno followed a stranger through the streets of Athens and founded a philosophy that shaped the Roman Empire. Siddhartha sat under a tree for one night and founded a tradition that now has 500 million followers. Neither of them was trying to win an argument. Neither was trying to prove the other wrong. They were simply trying to answer the same question that every human being in every era, on every continent, eventually asks: how do I live without being destroyed by it? Stoicism says, with reason, virtue, and clear eyes. Buddhism says, with awareness, compassion, and an open hand. Both answers have survived 2,500 years. That is not an accident. Here is something I want you to try this week. Take one difficult situation you are currently facing, something that is causing you stress or pain, and apply both lenses to it. Ask the Stoic question, what is within my control here and what is not? Act on the former, release the latter. Then ask the Buddhist question, what story am I adding to this experience? Can I simply observe what is actually happening without the narration? You do not have to choose between them. Let both traditions serve you. Next week, we are going into Aristotle, the philosopher who asked not how to endure life, but how to live it at its absolute best. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if this video helped you think more clearly about either tradition, share it. Philosophy is better as a conversation than a monologue. I will see you in the next one.